Today I'm going to be talking about multicam streaming through OBS Studio, specifically with a couple of webcams and a DSLR camera. Because I've been working with a company called YoloLive for a little while now, they sent through one of their S3 webcams, the YoloCam S3. You may have seen a review on the channel for that a little while ago. There will be a card in the corner to that, so you can go and check that out if you wanted to. But they sent me through another one, and the reason being they wanted me to talk about multicam streaming through OBS Studio and then comparing the quality to the S3 webcams to my DSLR camera, a Sony A7RII. So let's dive in. So first, what I want to do is talk about the setup because it is relatively simple. Now on my desktop here, you can see I'm already running OBS Studio in front of me. I've got the webcam on top. I've got that plugged into my PC here on the right-hand side. On the left-hand side of my desk, I've got a second webcam, which has a Type-C to Type-C cable running all the way through, again plugged into the back. And then on my left here, I have got my Sony A7RII, which has got a micro mini HDMI coming out of that into a GC553 Pro capture card from AverMedia, then running again into the PC. So all webcams are plugged into their own separate, well, DSLR camera as well, are plugged into their own USB ports into the back of my motherboard, all hooked up to OBS Studio. So let's dive in and I'll show you how I've set this up now. So jumping directly into OBS, you can see that we've got a blank canvas here. And the first thing we're going to need to do is add a scene. You can do this in two different ways. The first is click the Add Scene button in the bottom left-hand side, or secondly, right-click in the box to add scene. The first scene we want to add is the first webcam, which is going to be the front webcam. Click OK. And within the sources section, again, click the plus to add a source, or right-click and add a source there. You're going to want to go to Video Capture Device. Click that, and you're going to want to call this something as well, like front cam. You cannot copy the name of the scene. You have to call it something unique. Click OK there. And in this first drop-down menu, you're going to want to find your first device. At the moment, this is the wrong device. We want front cam, which is my S3 2540070. What an awful model number that is. Anyway, that will then switch to my front webcam, as you can see. Hello there. Your setup though may be a little bit different to mine. These are the names of the items plugged into my PC. If you have a Logitech webcam, it might say Logitech here. If you have an Elgato webcam, it might say Elgato webcam here. So please do find the webcam that you have plugged in. It's not going to be the same as mine. Once you have added the device and it is working within this preview window, you can click OK and then resize the webcam to the stream window or the preview window in OBS. Secondly, you're going to need an audio source. If your webcam has a microphone built in, this one doesn't, unfortunately, although in my last review I did say that it did have a microphone built in. I got that completely wrong. You can then add another source. In this case, I am going to be adding my Elgato StreamDeck, which is on my desk right here. And my microphone, which is a Wave XLR microphone. Apologies about the lamp behind, but that Wave XLR microphone is going to be used with my StreamDeck, which I'm then going to add into OBS. So adding the microphone source, I am going to right click again and go to Add Source, go to Audio Input Capture. Unfortunately, I've not got an existing one here, so I'm going to have to create a new one. And let's call this StreamDeck microphone. Keep it simple for now. Click OK, go to Device, and then find your microphone in your list. In my case, it says Wavelink Microphone FX. Click OK, and you can see that the microphone is working because it is being activated on the equalizer by my voice. So this is front webcam all set up now. Jumping back into scenes, I'm going to need to add another webcam. So click add scene. Go to call this side camera. Or no, let's keep it consistent actually and call this side webcam. Click OK. You can call your scenes and your sources whatever you like, and if your naming conventions are better than mine, then use those. But this is for just for tutorial's sake. So once you've got your second scene, you can add a source and use video capture device. As you can see under existing, it says front cam there already because we've added it to another scene. We're going to be talking about that in a moment once we are looking at how to incorporate this within gaming. So create new, let's call this side cam to again be consistent. Click OK and choose the source or the device for the side camera. In my case, it's this S3 254 80208. Click OK on that, and then drag it out to where you would like it. Click plus, go to audio input capture. If you wanted an audio input capture on this source, of course, if you go to add existing, and then StreamDeck microphone, because we've already added it to a previous source, so it remembers that as a source within OBS. Click OK, and you can see that the microphone is reacting to my voice there, and the webcam is over on my left-hand side. For the third camera, which is the DSLR camera we mentioned at the beginning of the video, let's call this Sony DSLR, DSLR camera. Click OK. Add another source, which is a video capture device, and we're creating a new one again. So to keep it consistent, let's call this Sony Cam. Click OK. Now this is where it slightly differs because the Sony DSLR camera isn't directly plugged into my PC. It's actually plugged into my capture card. So my capture card is an AVerMedia Ultra S GC553 Pro. So if I click that, the Sony camera will then appear within my preview window. Click OK, drag that out again to where I want it, and as you can see, the Sony camera is here, and I can zoom in and out because I'm using a super ultra wide is it's an ultra wide 16mm lens, but that's on my Sony camera, and this is all set up now. So you've probably noticed that there is already an equalizer on the OBS window. That is because the capture card that I am plugged into is picking up the microphone that is on the Sony camera. Now, to get around this, you just have to add another source. Add source again, audio input capture, add existing, and StreamDeck microphone, which is the original microphone we wanted to use, and click OK. You can now notice that there are two equalizers on the OBS audio mixer. That is because I'm now being picked up by the Wave XLR microphone and the Sony DSLR camera plugged into the capture card. And all you need to do is isolate one of them. Now, because you don't want to get rid of the Sony camera, you are going to have to slide or mute the Sony camera inside of the audio mixer, so then you only have one source of audio that is being picked up. If you are gaming, or if you have got music playing or anything else, then they will be controlled individually within the audio mixer. But in my case, and in this case, an example, there are only two audio sources. So how can we go about incorporating all of this into a single scene? Because there are going to be some streamers out there that would like multiple webcams or multiple cameras within the same feed. And it's pretty simple to do. All you need is to create a new scene. In this case, we've already got template made. If you were to then add a video capture device, you can already see the existing cameras that we have already added as scenes. The first one is the front cam, which is here. The second is the side cam, which is here. Again, hello. And thirdly is the Sony cam, which is here. So now that everything you need has been pulled into one scene, you have to configure a layout based on the type of stream that you're doing. Now, for example, if you are doing some kind of art-based streaming, then you might want to have some kind of top-down camera on your desk while you're drawing. Or if you are gaming, for example, you might want a camera aimed at your desk so you can then pick up your mouse and keyboard movements. So, because I do play games and I cannot draw to save my life, let's do that. So the first thing you're going to want to do is decide on the camera that you want to be aimed at your desk. Now, the easiest thing would be to use the Sony camera that's on my tripod here, which if I aim that down at the desk like so, let's get everything else out the way so it's looking nice and neat. Let's lock off the tripod so the camera doesn't go anywhere. You can now see that I am aimed at my desk. Let's now start moving by using these square boxes. Let's start moving the cameras around the scene. Apologies, the side camera or the side webcam is picking up the SLR camera, which is absolutely fine to me for now. I don't need this to be super neat and tidy as a demonstration. That's up to you to get your streams looking as neat and tidy as possible. So now that all the cameras are in each corner set up, some people, you know, they have some kind of pet cam, or if they've got a dog on the floor, or if they've got a cat running around, they might want to dedicate one of the streams to, or one of the camera feeds, should I say, to a pet and have some kind of feature on their stream based on their pet, their dog, their cat, or goldfish. Or if you just want multiple scenes or multiple angles of yourself, then you can do it this way as well. The next thing I'm going to have to do is bring in some kind of game stream. So let's do this now. So adding a game to OBS is extremely easy. Now, as you can see, I have got a game called Proteus open on my main screen. I have moved OBS over to my second screen. Now, I have got two screens in this example because it's a lot easier to live stream and create content with two screens, so you can have your main game on one screen and then OBS on another, and it doesn't have, there's no confusion on what's actually being captured because you've got a constant preview window open. But it is very easy to do. So what you need to do is add the game into OBS as another source. Easiest way to do that is if you click the plus button and go to game capture. You could also use window capture or desktop capture as well. In this case, we are going with game capture. Click on the game capture button. Because there's no game capture already, we have to add it as a new source. So game capture is pretty descriptive. It ticks the box, so click OK there. Now this is where you've got different modes that you can capture. The first is capture any full screen application. The second is capture specific window or capture foreground window with hotkey. For the most part, I tend to stick with capture specific window because I can then click this window drop down and choose what I want to target. At the moment, I've got my search, I've got Proteus, which is the game that's open, and I've got Steam. So if I click Proteus, you can then see the game is being captured. Of course, the size is absolutely huge within the preview window at the moment because the game is currently playing in 4K, and my preview window for Steam, I think, is 1080. Oh, sorry, OBS is 1080p, something like that. So what you need to do is then resize that game capture window. Again, clicking these red boxes on the four corners of the preview. So now you can see it's in the preview window, but it is covering up the webcams. Easy enough to fix. Grab game capture, drag it to the very bottom, and then you've got your game capture, your front cam, your side cam, the Sony camera, and then you've got a microphone that's being picked up as well. However, you are still not getting any game sound into the stream. What can you do there? So you need to add it as a source. So then click the plus button again, or right click the window, This time you want a source output because you are outputting sound from a particular source, or in this case, a particular game. Because I'm again running through my StreamDeck, my audio is routed through the StreamDeck, so I have to target that within my sources. If you're just running headphones plugged into your desktop, for example, you then choose desktop audio as a source or headphone audio as a source, which we'll run through now. So if you choose audio output capture, you can see an existing desktop audio because that's the sound driver being picked up by OBS, but in my case, it doesn't work. So I have to create a new audio output. So if I put StreamDeck game or StreamDeck output or whatever you want to call it, again, your naming convention is your own. Click OK here. You can see that there is a number of devices that I can particularly target depending on where I want the sound to come from. At this moment in time, my desktop is set to my StreamDeck system, so I click StreamDeck system. As you can see, the game is very, very loud, so you have to then start doing a bit of balancing within the audio mixer to get your sound sounding decent. Of course, there are tools out there like my StreamDeck that can do this for me. I used to have, and I can't remember what it was called, something XLR, Go XLR, something like that. But there are products out there now that can do this for you with dials and buttons and sliders physically rather than having to do it within OBS. But for the sake of this tutorial, this is how you would do it. So then there you go. There is a very simple stream set up. And if we were to jump into a game, let's log in back into here. If we zoom in the camera a little bit, you can then see that the bottom right hand camera is really showcasing my keyboard and my mouse on the desk, which if that's your thing, you can absolutely do that. I've got my front and center webcam for my face here. And then I've got the side webcam over there for no reason at all for this particular streaming example, but maybe if you wanted several camera angles, you can mix into your own streams if your content asks for it. So as I've got my audio coming through headphones, I can put my headphones on and start listening to my game. And we can then start playing a bit of Proteus, which I think, by the way, is an absolutely fantastic game, even though I'm not very good at it. It's basically Doom, but really bad graphics. So anyway, this is pretty much, if we look over here now, or if we change sources on our recording, we can do that as well. There you go, looking at my side camera. This is how you would set up a stream and do some kind of multicam stream using OBS and a couple of webcams. So yeah, hope that was easy enough to understand and to follow along. If not, let us know in the comments on how we can improve for the next time we do something like this. So I've just quickly jumped into a game of Anno 117, and I've also adjusted my OBS preview to replicate what a common stream might look like with the two webcams, or the SLR camera and the webcam on the left hand side. Now I am comparing the quality difference between the YoloCam S3, which is this one here, and the Sony A7RII, which is this one here. And for the most part, if you are using these cameras to live stream, you're not going to be noticing, I don't think, a huge difference. Now there is of course a difference in sensors which can affect things like dynamic range. So if you look at the S3, for example, it is a lot more contrasty than the Sony A7RII, but at this size, it's really negligible. And if I was to start playing this game and talk to the camera like any live streamer probably would, I think you're going to be hard pressed to really complain about either one, really. And that is a good thing because of the price to entry. So YoloCam S3 will set you back around £200 according to Amazon, which compared to a modern DSLR camera now is a little bit cheaper, but the quality and even size difference between the two, I mean, is something to be said. Having a big hulking DSLR facing you on your desk or the little YoloCam S3, I think I know which one I would rather have on my desk for my live streaming setup. So there you go, a quick introduction to multicam streaming using a single PC and a couple of webcams and a DSLR camera, although you do need a capture card as well, so there is that. If you did enjoy this video, hit the like button, subscribe to keep up with more, and we'll see you in the next one.